Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I got a busy week ahead of me between week 1 strategy discussions, development of guides. I'm actually going to be working on Emerald Weapon after this, Monk video, Melee versus, so it's going to be a pretty packed end of the year here. So this Q&A, probably going to keep it a little bit short so I actually have some time to relax somewhere in all that mess. So let's get right into the questions after we thank our patrons for supporting the channel over on Patreon. It's nothing that I expect of anybody. It's only there for people who just enjoy the channel and just want to throw extra support, but you'll get the same content no matter what. So don't worry if you're not over there. I just want to thank the people who are. And of course, our patrons of Darkness, Khuja, Janova, and Kurenai Oni, who have gone above and beyond with their support on the platform. But with that, I'm sure there are some juicy questions. If not, I'll be okay with that because I am exhausted. So let's get into it and see what you guys got for me. All right, question number 1, hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps, just a quick question. Do you think they'll ever let people exchange raid coins for drops inside of the raids? I'm at 130 runs of the Puppet's Bunker and still haven't got the 2B minion drop. You know, I think I had this discussion a while back in that it almost is, it's pointless that you can't do that. Like, there's no reason to not allow coins to also be exchanged for the gear. Outside of, I guess, trying to get you to do it, like to try to keep it populated. Because the one coin is used for, well, one coin from each of them combined is used for upgrade mats. And the upgrade mats is higher item level than the actual pieces. So it goes to show you that they know that the glam is a big reason that people will run it. Thus, they can keep it populated by keeping it off of coins. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to have the gear from the 24-mans be purchasable with coins. Even if you want to make it a 5-to-1 as opposed to the 1-to-1 that you get for the upgrade material. But yeah, it's got to, or even just for the minion 10, 15, whatever. Like, I see no reason to not do it, even if it's just somewhere down the line after it's no longer, I guess, relevant item level wise. Yeah, I completely support the idea, and it's almost kind of silly that it isn't there. All right, I saw the word Eden, but this doesn't seem to actually have any spoilers, so I can just throw it right here as the second question. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, hope you had fun with the patch so far. I sure have. 2 questions. First, a quick question, as I hadn't really been able to pay attention, but how long did Eden's promise world first take, and who got it? As far as is reported, although Square Enix has not officially acknowledged it, the team, Thoughts Per Second, the same group that got world first in the Epic of Alexander back in 5.1, did claim world first after 38 total hours. For anyone looking for a reference point, that is 2 hours longer than it took for the world first of E8 Savage. And I think Psylink was the team who won in 5.2. So yeah, they took it in 38 hours, as far as I know. Second, how do you feel about this tier's mechanic and art design? This was definitely the best tier of Shadowbringers. I'll be releasing a more detailed video on it, but I think that outside of a couple of things that may not age well as the weeks go on, I think that this will generally be a well-received raid tier. We'll see how the Party Finder handles it as well, because a lot of people determine how good a raid tier is by how good the Party Finders are, and that can lead to some mechanics that aren't normally super difficult or bad even in design to start to feel bad after you've been in enough bad parties for them week after week after week. The normal modes, on the other hand, I think E12 normal is the weakest of the normals that we've had, of the final normals in quite some time. I still think Titan for normal mode has been the best one. But, it's not like it's bad. It's just that I think it's the weakest of the batch for normal modes. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, Happy, and congrats on your E12 Savage clear. Thank you very much. Simple question this week. Are there any games from the PS2 era or earlier that you didn't get to play when it was current and new now that you wish you could? I feel like if I had known that they existed, I would have gotten them back then. I'm sure if I looked down a list of games nowadays, I could think of one, but off the top of my head, no, because I was spending all my time playing Final Fantasy XI. I was playing Final Fantasy games as they released. I was playing Devil May Cry games as they released. I don't think there's one. There has to be one. There has to be some game in my past that I kind of wish I'd played, but none that spring to mind personally. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Happy, hope you're doing all right, and that your whiskey soldiers are ready for war. Take no prisoners. Yeah, I got for my 30th, I got a bottle of Yamazaki, and apparently so did my mother. She got one for me, so now I'm gonna have 2 bottles of Yamazaki, and I did not plan on that. My question is thus: what happened to the Beast Tribes and the Primals? The Final Fantasy series in general has a great love for summon monsters, and when you start playing A Realm Reborn, the power of Primals took center stage. They're the core focus of the Alliance and the Grand Companies. There's barely a mention of them. Even Eden, one of the most powerful summons to grace the series, has been reduced to a glorified airship. Yeah, trust me, you should probably do the story before you say much more about that. The summons have been dear to me since Rydia brought them as a narrative. Sorry about the long-winded rant. Beast tribes and primals are still a core thing in the game, but when we go to other worlds and we go to lands that don't have the ability to perform summonings, it's kind of just a natural progression of things. I mean, the whole game has been about primals forever. And it still has been. It's just that we've moved to a place that doesn't have the concept of primals. And even then we found a way of actually bringing primals to the first. So you might want to just take a closer look at what's actually happening in the game story-wise, because I feel like you're missing a lot that you've not been keeping up with. Next one, hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hello. Hope you're doing alright. Congrats on Eden's Promise Savage. Thank you. 2 questions. One, I've seen a few videos of E12 Savage, and it seems like a potential Party Finder nightmare. How would you compare it to E8? I think it'll be easier in the Party Finder. There's only one mechanic in E12 that I think will be not Party Finder friendly, and the rest of them are relatively personal responsibility, not wipe the whole group kind of things. There's definitely a few that don't fall in that line, but they're easy enough to understand that I just don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, especially if you can get past Phase 1. Phase 2 is not a pushover, but I think will definitely be more Party Finder friendly going into the future. And 2, do you want to punch Valens in the face as much as I do? Well, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but yes. Yes. Hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hey, Haps, how are you? I'm doing alright. You doing alright? I'm doing alright. All this talk of content guides and varying strats inspired my question, but first, I just want to thank you for all your guides over the years. Your content is literally 90% of why I get past rating anxiety that plagued me from a realm reborn until 4.5. You rock. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Your content is literally... Oh, maybe I should read the next line instead. Anyway, have you ever been in the middle of creating a guide for a piece of content, had that light bulb moment that made you scrap the video entirely and discuss a different strategy? No. You know what I've had? I've had the moment where the light bulb breaks and I give up mid-video because I'm not happy with anything that's happening in the video at all. I've never had a light bulb moment because the biggest problem with when I end up having a light bulb moment is 100% going to be that now I have to completely start over. And I don't have the willingness to do that half the time because I'm normally on kind of like almost like a personal schedule in terms of things, when things kind of need to be released, if that makes sense. So if I don't hit that, I feel like I've missed a window and it just probably falls apart from there to a point where it just doesn't get done. So no, the light bulb breaking, yeah, but the light bulb where I just need to completely rework it, you know what, it probably has happened, but not in a notable way that I can look at you and be like, yeah, I remember that one time. And you want to know something incredible? I didn't mean for the video to be over, but 90% of the comments are about my disembodied head and not actual questions. There were a couple of questions that I did kind of go over, and I'll be like, I'll come back to those. One of them says, where do you think we're going in the next expansion? I have an answer, but I'm not going to say it because it would be a massive spoiler to what just happened in 5.4. So that I'm going to leave for spoiler cast and State of the Realm, but I have a guess, and it is not what I see other people guessing, and I'm gonna leave that for another time. But yeah, a lot of disembodied heads. Somebody asked me what I think of The Sopranos. I never even watched The Sopranos, to be honest. I was never big on TV or series, I suppose. Like, yeah, I'd come home and like something would be on TV and I'd watch it, but I never like said, oh, I need to watch this show at this time every day. Like, that kind of wore off by the time I was like 11 or 12. And I just never got it back. Even to this day, the only time I ever watch shows is when they release en masse on like a streaming platform. And half the time I haven't watched The Boys Season 2 yet. And I was really looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm terrible about following shows. So it never really mattered. I lived pretty close to where The Sopranos was shot, the bar where they shot most of a bunch of scenes from the show. But I never had any impressions of it. And then I think there was another one that I kind of skimmed past because I didn't really have too much to add to it. I know you're not much into speculation, but what are you thinking about jobs? I mean, the only thing I'll predict job-wise is that probably a healer and a caster. I think that's the most reasonable. Now, there's multiple reasons for that. There's actually an event in 5.3, and it's not the event people think it is. That leads me to believe that more so now than I did before. And it's towards the very end of it regarding individuals who seem to be bored, to say the least. So I'm thinking that that'll probably be the case. What they end up doing, I don't know. But I am predicting a healer and a caster specifically. And I think the healer needs to be the first thing they reveal, because if not, it's going to be... If they don't reveal that almost immediately, people are going to get a little antsy. But I think we'll find out in February. I think we'll know at least all the roles of the jobs in February if they don't reveal them all outright. But healer and caster. And I don't know. I don't think there was anything else. It's mostly just, yeah, everyone's saying about my head. A comment on Machinist, and that being kind of a sticking point for problems in range physical. I don't think Machinist is a sticking point for problems. Machinist is actually pretty strong. This tier in particular. So I really don't feel that way. And I feel like, again, the problems with range physical kind of get exacerbated by people's interpretation of things like FF logs. I don't think it's as bad as people assume. But, again, the game is so balanced that you have to take those like little differences and those little things. And those have to be the discussion because they're the only things that can realistically be discussion. Some people just ask me to make the guides. Thank you, Disembodied Head. I was Omega one week. I portrayed the machines and became a ghost. So there's going to be something wrong with every video. Maybe I should just make sure videos don't have that stuff so people remember to ask questions in these. Because as much as I love a short Q&A, I didn't intend for it to be this short. So I guess I'll just give you a little bit of a preview since I have some time here at the end. So I mentioned at the beginning that I have a ton of videos to get to. Right after this, I'm going to be working on Emerald Weapon Extreme. I am going to be doing the pairs strat. I'm not a fan of the 4-4 strat where you're doing 2 light parties and just run a half circle. Not for me. Highly just recommend a ton of mitigation, a quick heal in between orbs, and that is done. For Savage, I'm not going to be doing outright guides in the first week, mostly because I find my footage isn't really optimal for it, but also because the strategies are going to evolve quite quickly. So what we are going to be doing, and those will be out by Monday or Tuesday, are going to be discussions on how the mechanics are, how they could be improved, and then we'll be working on week 2 outright guides where I'm still going to be warning people that they are early strats. I really want to put onus on the fact that these strats are early. They are not optimal. They will change. The party finder will ask you to learn them and that you should be open to that. You may wipe a few times, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to learn something better so it can go easier in the following weeks. We will be doing some of the more basic stuff, dungeon guide, a quick overview on the shifting oubliettes, and I am going to be doing a Monk Thoughts video, a Raid Thoughts video, and overall looking back at the entire raid tier of Shadowbringers video, the melee verses, as well as covering any various news segments that pop up. We're coming close to 2021 as well, so expect Final Fantasy 16 stuff. Expect some of the interest that I have in the first couple of months, things like Bravely Default 2 or Monster Hunter Rise to pop up on the channel as well. And of course, we are expecting the expansion details to be hitting February 5th when they do their special live stream during the 14-hour broadcast, which will be in both Japanese and English. So I'll have some pretty reliable information, regardless of translations, because we'll have everything outright in front of us. So we've got a lot of exciting things in the coming months. It's been definitely a hell of a close to the end of the year for me. As you guys have no doubt noticed, not the usual consistency, even compared to previous times. And I have no excuse. Obviously, you guys know where my head's at. I like to tell you guys where my head's at. And things have been definitely better in that regard. So I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling funky, and I'm feeling ready to throw some videos out there and throw out some new ideas, because I'm honestly getting kind of bored of not releasing videos. Now my brain's back at the, okay, I'm bored, I need to actually be releasing some stuff. Maybe some Genshin stuff, because I've been playing that way too much. Maybe some highlight-related stuff, funny moments, edited videos like that. You know, things that are less on the serious side, less on the informational side, and more on the comical side, because I feel like that's something that when I do, I love doing it. I hate trying to make myself funnier, and oftentimes these clips are me having an embarrassing moment and needing to make it funny. So maybe like some Unreal shenanigans with Titan. I don't know. I've got a few ideas, but we got to get to some of the more important stuff immediately. So thanks for listening to my little TED Talk here at the end, since I had some spare time. But be sure to ask your questions in the comment section of the video below. We will take spoiler questions, and they will be segmented. Spoiler questions will be at the end of videos, and non-spoiler questions will be at the beginning. I do also urge you, if you still haven't played through the story, if you still haven't done anything like that, and you have a question, don't scroll past the comment, the ability to enter your own comment. because I can't stop you from reading them. Also, the spoiler ones won't be on the screen as well. We'll have timestamps for all that stuff also. So with that, thank you for watching this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Be sure to ask your questions, like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you all in the next one. Continue to enjoy 5.4, and I'll do my best to get those guides out as quickly as possible. Until next time, take care.